Welcome to Construction Genius. My name is Eric Anderton. Today's episode is just a little bit unusual. And what I've done is I've put together 3 separate video segments that I shot directly after having a coaching call with one of my executive clients who's the president of a construction company. And I put these together because I think these are issues that each one of us in our senior leadership roles face. The first one is all about how to make tough decisions. And I tell a personal story about the toughest decision I ever had to make in my life. The second one is about prioritization. And we get in a time machine and go back to the early 90s and talk about a classic prioritization technique that you can use in your leadership. And the third one is all about problem solving and how problem solving is something that needs to be done with a combination of impatient patience and how incremental change is essential to solving the biggest challenges that you have. So prioritization, problem solving, and how to make tough decisions. That's what this episode of Construction Genius is all about. I appreciate you listening to the show, and I hope you enjoy it. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Let's get in our time machine and go all the way back to the early 1990s. Do you remember the Franklin Planner? Yes, you do. I know you do. The Franklin Planner. It was a planning tool that was very popular back in the 1990s where people would put in their list of things that they're doing and their calendars and all this kind of stuff, and everyone would be toting around a Franklin Planner. Okay, now, what was one of the core lessons that you learned from the Franklin Planner that you may have forgotten? That core lesson was the importance of prioritization. And in this video, I want to talk about how you can avoid having a disastrous week by prioritization. So let's remind ourselves of that prioritization method. Okay, it's very simple. You make a list of all the things that you need to do in a week, and you should be doing this on a Sunday evening or perhaps on a Monday morning very early. You make a list of all the things that you have to do during the week. You then prioritize them, A, B, and C. A, it must get done. B, it would be great if it got done. C, it's not important if it got done or not, right? A, B, C. Then you take your A's and you number them. What's your A1, A2, A3, all the way down. Then you take your B's and you number them, your C's and you number them. Then what you do is you take a look at your calendar and you begin to roll your A's into your calendar, blocking out time so that you can work on your most important priority. And then what you do is you commit to working on that priority until you can no longer work on it. Right? So your A1 may be a project where you're going to make incremental progress on it, and then somebody else has to do something or add something to that particular project. So you can't do it all at once. And so it's going to roll perhaps to the next week. But the point is, you are making that clear list, and then you're filling your calendar with your priorities, and you're then executing on those priorities one at a time, making incremental progress. Okay, so let's zoom forward to 2021. We no longer have those Franklin planners. I don't even have one that I can show you on video, but the principle of prioritization, A, B, and C, number your priorities and then roll those priorities into your calendar, it still works today. And that's how you can avoid having a disastrous week and make incremental progress on what's most important every single week and every single day. Let's talk about how solving business problems is a lot like losing weight. The problem that most business owners have with their problems is that they get overwhelmed by them and they don't see a path towards making incremental progress to dealing with the problems. And it's kind of like that when people need to lose weight. Let's say you need to lose 50 pounds. You're not going to lose 50 pounds overnight. So how can you actually lose that weight? Well, one of the most effective ways to do that is to identify your goal. So let's say you want to lose 50 pounds. You want to go from 230 down to 180. That's 50 pounds, right? If my math is right. Okay, so let's say you want to do that. You identify your goal, then you identify the levers to help you to achieve that goal. When it comes to losing weight, the levers have everything to do with exercise and eating. And most importantly, in my experience at least, it's eating. It really matters what you eat. Okay, so you identify your goal, you identify the levers to help you to achieve that goal, and then you have to exercise daily discipline. And daily discipline, when it comes to losing weight, you do it in two ways, basically. You track what you eat, and then, if you need it, you have somebody hold you accountable for that. So those two aspects can really help you to leverage the levers to achieve the goal. It's the same thing with solving your business problems. Identify your goal. And the best way to do it is to wave a magic wand and say, 1 year from now, where do I want to be with regards to this problem? Okay? So let's say you have a vital role to fill in your business. Let's say it's an executive role, but you don't have someone to fill that seat. But a year from now, you want that seat filled. Then what you have to do is identify the levers that are going to help you to achieve that goal of filling that seat, whether it's using recruiters, whether it's tapping into your network, whatever the case is. And then you have to keep track of how well you're executing those levers. So if it's about filling a particular role in your business, it may be the number of conversations that you have on a weekly basis, looking for the candidate who's going to fill that role. You get the idea, right? Okay, you have to identify the role, you have to identify the goal, then you have to identify the levers to help you to achieve that goal, and then you have to commit to incremental progress. You must be patiently impatient. You're not going to achieve it overnight, but make sure that you are making that progress. And if you need accountability for that, make sure that you're getting that accountability. And by the way, that's one thing that I do with my clients all day long. I work with senior executives, CEOs, and presidents of construction companies, and we identify their big problems and how they're going to overcome their problems. We identify the levers that are going to help them to achieve overcoming that problem. And then I hold them accountable for executing on those levers. And if you need that kind of help, feel free to contact me on my website, constructiongenius.com. Let me tell you about the toughest decision I ever had to make in my life and how that relates to the tough decisions that you have to make in your business today. 20 years ago, I was 2 weeks away from getting married. The woman that I was engaged to was a terrific woman from a great family, but 2 weeks out from the wedding, I had the sense that it was not the right decision for me. Now, in any relationship, it takes two to tango, right? You know that. And there were issues in my relationship with my fiancée that were both my fault and her fault. And in my mind, those issues were of such severity or such seriousness that for us to get married at that point was the wrong decision to make. As I considered that decision, I felt a lot of pressure internally as I considered the impact of that decision on her and the way that I would be perceived by others. 20 years ago, I think I was a prouder guy than I am today, I think. And I was afraid of what other people would think about me as a result of the decision if I decided to call off the wedding. All of that was playing within me, all of that turmoil, all of that difficulty, all of that challenge. But I knew what the right thing to do was. And so I called off the wedding. I immediately found a sense of energy from that decision because it was the right decision to make. And of course, it caused me pain. It caused my fiancé pain. And it resulted in other people having certain opinions about me. But despite all of that, I knew that I had made the right decision. Now, let's talk about you. What is the toughest decision that you have to make in your business right now? It's probably around a person, although it might be around a project or it might be around a strategic plan, but more than likely it's around a person. And in your mind, you are concerned about the pain you may cause them as a result of your decision. You are concerned about the way you may be perceived by others as a result of that decision, and it makes the decision difficult. And let me tell you what the decision is all about more than likely. It's about this. Do I have the right person in the right seat? And right now, there's probably someone in your organization that you know is the wrong person in the wrong seat, and you've got to make a decision about that. Either training them up so they become the right person or moving them on. And that is a difficult decision to make. But you as the leader must make it because it is your responsibility and you know that your company is a reflection of your ability as a leader to make those tough decisions. And so use this framework. It's a famous framework. It's called 36 hours of pain. That tough decision that you've got to make, it's going to cause you 36 hours of pain as you go up to the conversation that you need to have and as you deal with the fallout afterwards. But if it's the right decision, you know how you'll know. You will draw energy from that decision, a sense of clarity, a peace of mind, and a real conviction that you made the right decision, even if it causes you temporary pain and difficulty and challenge. So, what's the toughest decision that you need to make right now? Don't be driven by what other people think about you. Don't be driven by wanting to be liked or accepted. Be driven by doing the right thing and have that difficult conversation and go through those 36 hours of pain. Now, back to my story. There's good news in it. My fiance and I, we broke up. We were not together for, I'd say, about 18 months, but we slowly got back together. We worked on our relationship, dealt with some of the issues in our lives, and then we got married. And we got married in 2003, so we've been married very happily since then. There's good news in that story. So, whatever the case is, though, think about the decisions you have to make those tough decisions, draw energy from those decisions. Don't be tripping on what other people are thinking. Do what is right for your business right now. Hi, this is Eric. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Construction Genius. I trust you got some insights into how to make tough decisions, prioritization, and problem solving. As I mentioned in the introduction, the inspiration for today's episode was taken from a specific conversation that I had with a construction company president, one of my executive coaching clients. Many of my clients really benefit from having that executive coach because it gives them an outside sounding board, someone who is separate from the hurly-burly of the stuff they're going through on a daily basis, and someone who can give them insights into specific actions they can take to be a more effective leader. And if you would like an executive coach to help you with your execution of your leadership duties and responsibilities, feel free to click on the link in the description of this podcast, and it will take you out to my calendar. And you can book in a short 10-minute phone call with me personally, and we can have a chat about some of the challenges you're facing, and we'll figure out if there is a possible fit for you and I to work together. If there is, then we can book another call to have a further deeper dive into how we could work together and how I could be of benefit to you. So I just want to give you that opportunity. Click the link in the description to the podcast and you'll be able to see my calendar and book in a time for yourself. Thank you for listening again to Construction Genius. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and thanks again for listening.